When I say high standards, I literally won't even give a man a chance if he doesn't have these 4 things. We're going to talk about it in this episode. And I think that if you're single, if you're out there looking right now, or even if you are in a relationship and you're like, did I settle? Maybe this isn't it for me. Listen to this podcast episode. I think that all relationships, even though they have become a rare find, by the way, let me add, ultimately, if a man can't provide these 4 things, I am super good being by myself. And not only that, but I think that you should also love your life so much that a man is just the cherry on top. He's not the end goal. Anyway, we're going to get into it this episode. Let's talk about it. You guys know that I talk a lot about what coaching can do for you, shifting your mindset, building your confidence, and actually creating better patterns in dating. Here's what I like to always remind people. Coaching and therapy are not the same thing, but having both is the ultimate duo. Coaching gives you the game plan. It helps you set goals with the tools to move forward. This therapy gives you the healing space to unpack and process what's already happened. One helps you understand the past, and the other helps you design your future. And when you put them together, that is when the real magic happens. That is why I'm so excited to be sponsored by BetterHelp, the world's largest online therapy platform. With BetterHelp, you can talk to licensed therapists from the comfort of your own home through video, phone, or even text. You'll get matched with someone who fits your needs. And if it's not the right fit, you can switch at any time. If you have been thinking about therapy, this is your time to start. For my listeners, you'll get 10% off your first month when you go to betterhelp.com/waytowifey. That's betterhelp.com/waytowifey for 10% off your first month. Welcome back to another episode of Way Too Wifey. I am your host, respectfully Gabby, and in this podcast, we talk all things dating, self-love, and if you are new here, hi, I'm Gabby. I'm an online dating and confidence coach where I help women date from a place of self-worth, not survival. If you have ever been curious about coaching, what I actually do, message me, reach out to me, hit the link in my bio. There's a few different things that I offer. I do have a program. If you do struggle with attachment styles, self-confidence issues, self-sabotaging relationships, and super anxious the moment that you get attached, this program was specifically built out for you, whether you're in a relationship or you're single. It doesn't matter. Book a call with me. It's completely free to book a call to see if we're a good fit. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. You can either message me or book a call directly. So with that being said, let's hop into the episode. Guys, I wanted to make this episode because I recently have been dealing with a lot of situations, if you will. I think this might be the most off of men that I've ever been. I really am coming to terms with I love my life so much that truly if a man were to step into my life, he would have to really do some convincing that he's worth my time because I just don't have time for the BS. And I think man after man that I'm meeting that I'm like, he reveals that he's in a relationship or he's married or he's whatever. I'm not even joking. I've met so many married men in the past 2 months. Not that I'm seeking them out. I'm literally living my life. They're coming up to me. They're chatting me up. They're flirting with me. It's obviously flirting with me. Then they drop the bomb that, oh yeah, I'm married, I have kids. Yeah, I'm in a relationship. It's open, whatever that means. And I am just disgusted at the landscape of dating right now. And I think this really has only been a problem, an issue for me in Dubai, because I do think that there's a certain level that a man gets to financially to where he's like, I have control of everything. I can do whatever I want. I can be married, have the kids, whatever, and then also live a double life because I can afford to do that. Whereas in Miami, I feel like most people truly are living in survival mode, and also most men choose to just stay single. And so they just date around. I think the guys here are in relationships and choose to step out because they think that they can. It has painted such a different view of men for me, of what men are really looking for, what they really need in relationships, and what, as women, what we need so that you don't get into a relationship, so that you don't get married to the wrong guy who's still out there dating other people. The reality is, as women, we need safety. We need to feel safe in relationships. And that can come in different forms of safety. And I think a lot of times you wouldn't necessarily be with someone in a relationship if he didn't provide at least one of these forms of safety. And I think the reality is, if you are getting into a relationship or you're dating out there and you tend to attach to people, this might be a really great place to start in realizing your patterns and what you crave in another person. There are 4 different types of safety. Bottom level 1 is physical safety. So not necessarily the strongest person in the room, right? Do you physically feel safe around this person? That is bottom tier level. Like, is this person gonna hurt me? Am I putting myself in danger when I'm with this person? That is like foundational level of safety. Physical safety, not only is this person a physical threat, but if something were to happen to me, if someone were to come up to me on the street and punch me in the face, would this person be someone that I can count on to do something about that? Or are they gonna run away? Are they gonna push me in harm's way? Are they gonna actually step up and protect me? Or are they just gonna let me figure it out on my own? Someone might not have this instinct to help you when something goes wrong or whatever. But in reality, we're living in a pretty dangerous world right now. And if your man doesn't have the protection instinct to want to protect you, you're dating a woman, you're dating a child. I remember my friend telling me this story, and this was literally the last time that she saw this guy, but she had been dating him. They were in a relationship at the time. She went out to a bar with one of her girlfriends, and this homeless man nicked her bag, like stole her bag, was on the run with it. He went to pick her up and she didn't even notice that her bag was missing. On the way outside of the bar, when he was coming to pick her up, they noticed that this homeless man had her bag on his arm. And she's like, oh my God, that's my bag. She went to go fight that battle for herself while he was like, oh no, I'm not getting involved. Like, I'm gonna go wait in the car. To me, I'm sorry, but as a man, that is your duty to protect me and to protect, if we had kids or like even my girlfriends around me, that is your duty to step up as a man. And if you can't do that, then like that physical safety is not necessarily there. It really comes down to is like, I want to feel like I can drop my guards around you. Like, I don't have to be on alert all the time, and I can actually shut my brain down around you and you can figure it out. If the world completely crashes down, you would be able to figure it out. So that's level 1. Moving up to level 2, beyond physical safety is resource safety, not necessarily financial safety. That is a big part of it, but resource safety. If I lost my house, if I lost all of my money, if I lost everything in life, would this man that I'm talking to be able to provide a roof over my head? Would he go out of his way to give me his last bit of money? Would he put food on the table, given that there's kids in the picture? Would he step up and be like, you know what, I will do everything that I can in my power to make sure that we all have the resources that we need? You want to feel like your man has it. There's going to be times in life your man might be down bad. Can you trust him enough in that moment to pick his life up and still be able to get back on the horse into figuring it out? Or is he gonna put more of a burden on you, where you have to be the sole provider of the family, where you have to be the one to take an L on missing out on a meal because you need to feed your kids? I think what it comes down to is like generosity. Is he willing to put himself in a selfless seat so that you can live an easier life? And I don't think it needs to necessarily be the richest man in the room. And sometimes I think, if we're being honest, the richest man in the room is sometimes the most unloyal man in the room because he thinks that he has all these options and whatever. Not all the time. There are some rich, loyal men out there. I want to put that out there. But if you are dating and you're like, no, he has to make six figures, he has to do this, it's like, that's great if you're in that bucket and you're like, no, I need him to keep up with my lifestyle. But if you're not, you need to be real with yourself of like, can he at least support me? Can he at least keep up with me? Want more for himself? Maybe you're not at the 6-figure level, the 7-figure level, the whatever, but Can your man at least keep up with you? And does he want to do better? And does he want to see you doing better? Or are you in a position where you're constantly having to grind, to hustle, to figure it out because your man is complacent and relying on you? I see this happen all the time where girls get into situations where they play the mother role in this man's life, where they're paying all the bills, they're doing all the extra things. This man will absolutely drain you for all that you have if you are not careful. Can he be selfless enough to put you first? That is resource safety. And again, this has nothing to do with being the richest man in the world. The next level is level 3, which is emotional safety. This is becoming a rare find, I'm going to be honest. Or I've noticed there are like different tiers of men, especially in Dubai. If he's emotionally available for you, you trust him enough to show up, to come to you with problems, where you feel safe enough to be yourself, to open up to him, and you trust him enough to not shut down, to not run away from the issue, to actually handle it with emotional maturity. You're trusting him to not only manage his own emotional state, but also understand, or at least try to understand, where you're coming from. It's becoming more of a rare find to find an emotionally mature man who can also do the first 2 things. He's showing up. He has that provider instinct. He has that protector instinct, but he also is emotionally in tune with himself and emotionally in tune with you. That's becoming such a rare find. Those 3 alone, a lot of times the man, if he has the emotional, he doesn't have the physical safety, or if he has the emotional, he doesn't have the resource safety. I have seen so many of my girlfriends in the past settle for men who maybe didn't have that resource safety. They were the ones playing the mother role, but he was emotionally there for her, and they're thinking, okay, well, at least I can relate to him. At least we can have good conversations. At least, he's giving me that. But I think that turns into resentment on both sides when you're the one mothering him throughout the entire relationship. If you're dating and you're putting yourself out there and you're constantly feeling anxious in that beginning phases, if he's away for too long, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't feel emotionally safe with him. And a lot of times anxious attachers will go for the person who's okay, maybe he has that physical safety, that resource safety, but he doesn't have the emotional safety. That's what you're used to. You're used to men being emotionally absent, emotionally distant, and that feels normal. And you're like, well, at least he's like providing and protecting me. On an emotional level, you can't even be yourself. You can't even show up as a non-anxious version of you because you are so focused on being this cool girl, being this chill girl, and making him happy, making his life easier because he's giving you different levels of safety. But emotional safety, I've realized how big of a thing that really is. And then the last one, which I see a lot, especially with these married men that I keep unintentionally running into, they have all those things. So your basic needs, those 3 needs are being met. But that fourth one really comes down to the complete package of a man. The fourth one being bonding safety. Does this person actually respect me as a human being, and are they loyal to me? Someone who has all 4 of those things, and then that you're also attracted to, that you have chemistry with, it is all of the things. I'm sorry, but that is the only way that I'll even consider getting into a relationship, is if someone has all 4 of those things. If that person doesn't respect and isn't loyal to me, because I've thought about this in the past, I'm like, I'm meeting so many married men. Is there a world in which I would be open to like a romantic relationship that was open, that provided me the physical, the resource safety, the emotional safety, and we really, really vibed and everything was great, but he would step outside of the relationship and do whatever he wanted on the side? Is there a world in which I would be okay with that? And I think if I'm being honest with myself, like, it's not ideal. It's not my first choice of what I want. I don't know that I would be okay with that. And I think if I'm being real, I don't know if any woman truly at her core is fully okay with that. You might be getting your needs met. He's buying you things. He's, giving you that emotional piece. Everything is really good, but then he's stepping outside of the relationship. I can't imagine long term that being okay. And I actually really want to bring someone on this podcast that has like an open relationship that is willing to talk about these things. Again, everyone has different values, different morals, different views and opinions, and a lot of times I've seen open relationships work, but I've also met this guy recently who was married. It was like, yeah, I love my girl, like everything's great, life is good, but she knows that I do whatever I want. She's not allowed to do anything because I'm the one paying all the bills, I'm doing all the things, I'm taking care of her, I'm buying her things. Like, her life is set. Her life is good. Will I occasionally, respectfully, step outside if I want to, when I want to? Yeah, I will. I don't know that I would necessarily be okay with that, because at the same time, I'm doing all those things on my own anyway. So like, why would I want to add that little bit of like not feeling like I'm enough for someone? I really don't know that I'd be okay with it. And maybe if I met the right person and everything worked out and I was like, well, I'm like actually happy and life is good, maybe I would be open to it. Thinking about it without actually having experienced it, I don't know that necessarily would be for me. But regardless of if you agree with that or if you don't agree with that, I think that last level of bonding safety, I think truly I need someone who fits all four of these things. My standards are so high, it's because I want to feel safe in a relationship. I feel safe and comfortable and set in my life by myself. So if someone can't provide me with that safety, there's really no reason in entertaining that long term. A lot of times, and although it has become such a rare find, because I think a lot of these men out here are not emotionally, financially, physically, whatever, what we're expecting, and also don't want to take the accountability to get their lives back on track so that they, can be where they want to be. If you're out there dating and you tend to gravitate towards men who have maybe one of these things or two of these things, you can really see where your values are of like, okay, if you're only picking someone who has that financial safety, but he doesn't have that physical safety, or you're only picking people and you're valuing more that emotional safety, but he's willing to run away at the first sight of danger. And he also is making you pay all of the bills and making you step up. It's telling you, one, what you value in relationships, which is great. But I think if you know that you are a great catch, I'm sorry, but I don't see someone settling. That is why I will never settle. Settling to me is taking one or two or three of these things out of the equation. If I can put food on my table, if I can protect myself, if I have loyalty within my friendships and I trust them with everything, and I also have an emotional bonds with all of my girlfriends, why would I settle for a man who's less than that? I bring to the table everything that I expect in a partner. So I think when you're out there dating, if this man doesn't emotionally make you feel safe, you're never going to be able to lean back and feel your best self in a relationship. I think that when a man shows up with all of these four things, you can really sit back. You can turn your brain off. You don't feel like you have to control everything. You know that at the end of the day, your man has it. You can be yourself fully, authentically, and just show up and literally be taken care of. And if a man's not doing that, really ask yourself, what value is he bringing into your life? If it's one of these things, if it's two of these things, I'm sorry, but that is not enough. Do not settle. At the very least, have three of these four. Four, ideally, but three, do not settle for less than three. Also realizing that not everyone is going to take care of your every need. But I think at the end of the day, basic levels of safety are needed in order to really step into your fullest version. And if a man can't provide you a safe space, physically, emotionally, mentally, resources, whatever, then how are you going to be able to step into your biggest, baddest, most amazing, authentic self when you're with a man who's just bringing you down? That is it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got some kind of value out of it. And if you have, please leave that 5-star rating, leave the thumbs up, and subscribe, turn on your bell notifications so you'll never miss another episode. And I will see you all next Tuesday.